Hello, and welcome back to Moon Tales, children's bedtime stories and meditations designed to make bedtime a dream. The night in Sanrio town was unusually quiet. The pastel-colored houses twinkled gently under the starry sky, and the streets shimmered with a soft, magical glow. The sky itself was a deep violet, sprinkled with tiny silver stars that danced as if whispering secrets to the moon. It was the kind of night that made everything feel peaceful. Everything, except for one small but urgent problem. Hello Kitty stood at the highest balcony of her moonlight palace, her heart fluttering with worry. Tonight was supposed to be a special night, the Celestial Ribbon Festival, a time when the Sanrio world's magic was renewed. Every year, the festival took place under the full moon, and her magical ribbon, woven from starlight, played a crucial role in restoring balance to their world. But something had gone terribly wrong. Her ribbon was missing. Not just misplaced, but completely vanished. The moment she had gone to retrieve it from its crystal case, she had found the case shattered, its shimmering pieces scattered like fallen stars on the palace floor. Without the ribbon, the Celestial Ribbon Festival could not begin. Without it, the magic that kept Sanrio Town bright and full of joy would slowly start to fade. Hello Kitty tightened her small paws, her silver cape billowing slightly in the wind. Her mind raced through possibilities. Who could have taken it? Or had something even worse happened? She gazed up at the sky, where the moon glowed like a guardian watching over their world. And that was when it happened. A portal, swirling in shades of blue and silver, suddenly tore through the sky above Sanrio Town. It spiraled like a whirlpool, crackling with strange energy. The stars around it flickered uncertainly, as if startled by its sudden appearance. And from within the portal, a shadowy figure came tumbling through. With a swift motion, the figure flipped, spun, and landed gracefully on the rooftop of the palace, crouching like a panther. The moonlight caught the familiar red and blue suit, and his glowing web motifs shimmered like the night sky. His silver-threaded gloves pulsed softly with energy, adjusting to the new world he had just fallen into. Spider-Man looked around, eyes wide behind his mask. Okay, not what I was expecting," he muttered. He had been swinging through the streets of New York, chasing down a runaway drone that had been messing with dimensional energy. One moment he had reached out to web it, and the next, boom! He was free falling through space and time, landing in this soft, dreamy world. He had seen a lot of weird things in his life. This question mark, this was new. Hello Kitty blinked, stepping closer. "Who are you?" Spider-Man turned, noticing her for the first time. His spider sense tingled faintly, but there was no danger, only curiosity and a strange warmth coming from this small, glowing figure. "I could ask you the same thing," he replied, scratching the back of his head. "One second, I'm swinging through New York, and the next, I'm in a town made of candy-colored clouds and floating star lanterns." "This is Sanrio Town," Hello Kitty explained quickly, eyes still wide with wonder. "And, oh, your suit!" Spider-Man glanced down. He hadn't noticed it at first, but his suit had changed. The glowing web patterns on his chest flickered like constellations, and his gloves now hummed with a strange, soft energy. This place, whatever it was affecting him. "I don't know how you got here," Hello Kitty said, stepping forward. "But if you fell through a portal, that means—" Her voice trailed off. Her gaze flickered toward the horizon where something dark loomed in the distance. The Shadow Grove, home to the legendary glowing spiderweb forest. Spider-Man followed her eyes. What's over there? Hello Kitty hesitated. That's where we need to go. Wait, we? Spider-Man crossed his arms. I still don't know what's going on here. There's no time to explain fully, Hello Kitty said, her voice urgent. My magical ribbon is missing, and without it, Sanrio's magic will disappear. The only way to fix it is to reweave a new one in the glowing spider web forest. But, she bit her lip, ears twitching slightly, there's something guarding it, Kurohana, the dark flower. At the mention of the name, the wind seemed to whisper through the trees with unease. Spider-Man frowned. His hero instincts kicked in immediately. Something dangerous was involved, a dark force that threatened this world. And if there was one thing he knew, it was that heroes didn't turn their backs on people in need. So, let me get this straight. He tilted his head. Your magic ribbon is gone. We need to get to this spiderweb forest, but there's some kind of evil flower in the way. Hello Kitty nodded. Spider-Man exhaled, stretching his arms. Well, I was kind of hoping for a normal night of crime fighting, but this is fine. He flipped gracefully onto the palace railing, looking down at her with a grin. Guess I'm tagging along. Someone's got to make sure you don't get hurt. Hello? Kitty smiled softly, her moonlit dress shimmering. Thank you, Spider-Man. Just then, a soft chime echoed through the sky, signaling midnight. The stars above twinkled brighter as if sending them a quiet blessing. Their adventure was about to begin. With a leap of faith, Spider-Man extended his hand. Let's go save your world. Hello Kitty reached out, placing her paw in his, and together, under the silver glow of the celestial moon, they set off toward the unknown. Little did they know, the night held more mysteries than either of them had ever imagined. The silver light of the celestial moon cast shimmering reflections across the soft clouds that form the pathways of Sanrio town. As Spider-Man and Hello Kitty ventured toward the Shadow Grove, the once gentle breeze thickened into an eerie stillness. Ahead of them, the path turned darker, lined with twisting vines and glowing blue flowers that pulsed with faint energy. The further they walked, the softer the sounds of the town behind them became, replaced by the whispering hum of the mysterious glowing spiderweb forest that lay beyond. Spider-Man's spider sense tingled, lightly, an odd sensation, different from what he felt in his own world. It wasn't the usual sharp warning of immediate danger, but something more subtle. It was as if the very air was alive, watching them. Are you sure this is the right way? Spider-Man asked, swinging up to perch on a low-hanging cloud branch. His glowing web motifs pulsed faintly, responding to the magical energy of the forest ahead. Yes, Hello Kitty said, her soft voice filled with determination. The magic of my ribbon was woven from the threads of this forest. If I can gather the right threads again, I can restore its power. She paused, her purple silk dress shimmering like moonlight as she reached into her small star-shaped crown, pulling out a tiny glowing compass of light. The moonlight compass will guide us, she explained. It can detect celestial magic. As long as we follow it, we'll find the heart of the forest. Spider-Man leaned in, watching the tiny compass's silver-blue glow swirl in a slow circle, pointing toward the deepest part of the woods. Well, that's great and all, he said, flipping forward onto the pathway again. But what exactly are we expecting in there? Because my spider sense is telling me that something ahead is not friendly. Hello Kitty hesitated. The Kurohana, she murmured. At the mention of the name, the vines around them seemed to shudder, their dark tendrils curling slightly toward the ground. Spider-Man narrowed his eyes. Yeah, okay, definitely not friendly. The Kurohana is a dark flower spirit that thrives on lost magic, Hello Kitty continued. It has the power to steal memories, and it was once sealed deep within the forest, but something must have disturbed it. She looked down, ears twitching with worry. And if it has my ribbon, it means it's already feeding on its power. Spider-Man took a deep breath. All right, so we sneak in, grab the magic threads, avoid creepy memory-stealing flower monsters, and get out before it notices us? Something like that, Hello Kitty said with a small smile. Great, Spider-Man said, cracking his knuckles. Because when has a stealth mission ever gone wrong? At that exact moment, the trees trembled and a low, haunting voice echoed through the grove. Visitors! In my forest? The air thickened, and shadowy petals began to fall from above, their edges lined with flickering purple energy. Hello Kitty gasped, clutching her moonlight compass tighter. It knows we're here! Yeah, I got that, Spider-Man muttered, crouching into a defensive stance. The path ahead shifted, the trees stretching unnaturally, closing off their escape behind them. A thick wall of vines shot up, twisting together to form an inky black barrier. They were trapped, and then, emerging from the darkness, it appeared. A massive, twisted flower with deep violet petals, its center glowing with eerie silver-blue veins, slowly unfurled in front of them. It pulsed like a living heartbeat, and long, thorny tendrils slithered outward, reaching for them. Spider-Man felt his gloves tingle. This was no ordinary plant. This thing was alive with dark magic. Little ones, the Kurohana purred, its voice like 100 whispers layered together. You carry something precious. Spider-Man took a step forward, placing himself slightly in front of Hello Kitty. Yeah? Well, too bad. It's not for sale. The Kurohana chuckled, a soft, hypnotic sound that seemed to wrap around their minds. Oh, but I've already tasted the ribbon's power, it hummed. And now I want more. Without warning, its tendrils shot forward. Spider-Man reacted instantly, flipping upward, shooting a glowing silver web line at the nearest tree. His webbing glowed softly, the magic from this world reacting with his own. He swung around, dodging the first strike, but the second tendril curved in mid-air, slicing through his web before he could land. Whoa! Spider-Man twisted, barely catching himself as he landed on the soft ground below. Hello, Kitty yelped, jumping back as another tendril lashed toward her. A pulse of moonlight flared from her crown, creating a small protective barrier just in time. The Kurohana hissed, recoiling slightly from the light. Spider-Man landed beside Hello Kitty, breathing hard. Okay, so it really doesn't like moonlight. That's it, Hello Kitty gasped. Moonlight magic is the one thing it can't absorb. If we can weave new threads of moonlight, we can weaken it. She turned to him. Spider-Man, can you use your webbing to trap its tendrils? Spider-Man flexed his silver-threaded gloves, feeling the power thrumming beneath his fingertips. Guess we're about to find out. He shot 2 glowing web lines, catching one of the Kurohana's tendrils mid-swing and yanking it backward. The dark flower screeched, thrashing violently, trying to break free. Hello Kitty lifted her hands, focusing all her energy on the threads of moonlight forming around them. With one swift motion, she reached forward, pulling them into a new celestial ribbon. Thin, fragile-looking, but pulsing with brilliant white energy. Now, Spider-Man! She cried. Spider-Man leapt into the air, twisting as he flung the moonlit ribbon straight at the Kurohana's core. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. The ribbon wrapped around the flower's glowing center, pulsing brighter and brighter. The Kurahana screamed, its dark energy flickering violently, before, boom! A pulse of silver-blue light exploded outward, knocking both Spider-Man and Hello Kitty backward. The Kurahana withered, its petals curling in on themselves, its tendrils disintegrating into soft specks of glowing dust. The forest stilled, the shadows faded, and floating in the center of the clearing was a single shimmering thread of golden light. Hello Kitty's breath caught. "That's it," she whispered. Spider-Man pushed himself up, shaking off the impact. "Did we just—" Hello Kitty stepped forward, reaching out to grasp the glowing golden thread. As soon as she touched it, a warm energy surged through her, and in a brilliant burst of light, her magic ribbon reformed in her hands. She clutched it close, her eyes shining. "We did it!" Spider-Man grinned, dusting himself off. "Huh? Not bad for a day's work." But before they could celebrate, the sky above them rippled, and a new energy pulsed through the forest. Their adventure wasn't over yet. The glow of the newly restored moonlight ribbon cast a warm silver light across the clearing, shimmering like a delicate strand of woven stardust in Hello Kitty's hands. She held it close to her heart, feeling the steady hum of its magic. Spider-Man, standing beside her, flexed his fingers, his silver-threaded gloves still faintly crackling with residual energy from the encounter. The Kurahana had been defeated, but something felt incomplete. A sudden shift in the air made them both turn their heads toward the sky. The trees above rippled, their leaves quivering as if whispering amongst themselves. The battle may have been over, but the world around them still felt unsettled. Spider-Man exhaled. "All right, so we beat the creepy flower monster and got your ribbon back. That's a win, right?" Hello Kitty hesitated. "It should be," she admitted, carefully looping the ribbon back into its rightful place on her star-shaped crown. "But something's still wrong?" As if responding to her unease, a gentle hum vibrated through the ground beneath them. The very fabric of Sanrio World quivered, a thin crack of dark mist unfurling at the edges of the clearing. Spider-Man's spider sense tingled sharply. "Okay, I don't like that." Neither did Hello Kitty. She turned to the moonlight ribbon, focusing her energy into it, and in a gentle pulse of soft light, she was able to read the magic woven inside. Her eyes widened. "The ribbon's power is only half restored," she murmured, confused. "But why?" Spider-Man crossed his arms. "Great! So what's the missing piece?" She frowned, then gasped, a realization dawning upon her. The magic threads were only part of the spell, but my ribbon was also connected to something else. Before she could finish, a strange gust of wind swirled around them, carrying a faint whisper. It wasn't menacing nor aggressive, but it had an unmistakable feeling of longing. "Memories." Hello Kitty's breath hitched. "It's my memories," she whispered. "My ribbon didn't just hold magic. It held pieces of my memories. That's why I still feel like something's missing." Spider-Man tilted his head. "Wait, you're telling me this thing was like your personal diary?" "In a way, yes," she admitted softly. "It held pieces of my most treasured moments. My first sunrise in Sanrio Town, the time I learned to fly with my cape, the festival of falling stars. If they were absorbed by the Kurahana before we defeated it..." Spider-Man's expression shifted. "Then that means they might still be out there." The moment the words left his mouth, the wind whispered again, this time carrying shimmering fragments of light. Scattered pieces of lost memories floating like delicate snowflakes. Hello Kitty reached out, catching one between her fingers. As soon as she touched it, a small vision flickered before her eyes, a moment of her past, blurry but warm. It was the night of the Sanrio Star Festival, when she had once danced under the moonlight, her ribbon glowing brighter than any star. She saw herself laughing, twirling beneath a sky of twinkling constellations. But the vision glitched, flickering like a broken dream, then disappeared. Hello Kitty gasped. It's like parts of me are fading. Spider-Man clenched his fists. Then we have to fix this, fast. The idea of losing memories, of losing pieces of yourself, sent a strange unease through him. As someone who had spent his life balancing between different identities, between who he was and who the world needed him to be, the thought of forgetting the moments that made him who he was struck deeper than he wanted to admit. And yet, despite the urgency, Spider-Man noticed how still Hello Kitty had become. She stood in the middle of the clearing, her usually cheerful and confident aura dimmed, staring at the floating fragments as if afraid of reaching for more. "Hey," he said gently, stepping closer. "We'll get them back." She blinked up at him, the silver glow of her ribbon reflecting in her eyes. "But what if we don't?" she whispered. "What if I never remember everything?" Spider-Man hesitated. He wanted to promise that wouldn't happen, that he'd fix everything, that they'd find every lost memory. But promises like that, they were heavy. So instead, he said, "Then we'll make new ones." Hello Kitty's eyes widened. "You're not just your past," Spider-Man continued. "You're who you are right now too. Even if some memories are missing, it doesn't mean you stop being you." Hello Kitty stared at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she smiled, small but real. "Thank you," she murmured. Spider-Man shrugged. "Hey, what are interdimensional friends for?" A small laugh bubbled from her lips, and for the first time since their adventure began, she didn't feel so lost anymore. But they weren't done yet. Taking a deep breath, Hello Kitty looked up at the swirling fragments above them. "We have to follow them," she said, determination returning to her voice. "They'll lead us to where the rest of my memories are." Spider-Man nodded, instinctively shooting out a glowing web line. "Then let's go get them." With that, the two of them leapt into the sky, chasing the scattered fragments of memories, flying toward the unknown. Their journey wasn't over. It was only just beginning. The night air swirled around them as Spider-Man and Hello Kitty soared through the sky, chasing the glowing fragments of lost memories. Each fragment flickered like a firefly, drifting toward a shimmering rift in the sky, a place where the fabric of Sanrio world was thin, revealing an ominous swirling vortex beyond. Spider-Man narrowed his eyes as they approached. "That doesn't look good." Hello Kitty's moonlight ribbon pulsed with unease. "It's worse than I thought," she admitted. "The lost memories aren't just floating away. They're being sucked into another dimension." A sudden gust of wind knocked them off course. Spider-Man shot out a glowing web, anchoring himself to a nearby floating island. Hello Kitty flapped her cape, struggling to steady herself in the air. A deep, echoing voice rumbled from within the vortex. "Memories are fleeting, but darkness lasts forever." From the swirling rift, a shadowy figure emerged, a being woven from forgotten memories, its form shifting and flickering like a distorted dream. Its hollow eyes gleamed with eerie recognition. "You," Hello Kitty whispered. The being let out a low, distorted chuckle. "Once, I was known as Noctis, the keeper of abandoned dreams. But now, I am something more." Spider-Man took a defensive stance. "Yeah? Well, whatever you are, I'm guessing you don't give lost memories back for free. Noctis's form stretched and unraveled, shadows curling around him like unraveling thread. Why would I? He mused. Memories fuel my existence. The more you forget, the stronger I become. Hello Kitty gasped. That's why you took my memories. You're feeding on them. Noctis's grin widened. And soon, all of Sanrio World will forget, until only shadows remain. Without warning, the vortex expanded, pulling at everything around it. The glowing fragments of Hello Kitty's memories spun faster, caught in the gravity of the swirling void. Spider-Man reacted instantly, firing a web toward the nearest memory fragment. "Hold on!" he shouted, swinging toward it. His fingers brushed the edge of the glowing memory. But just as he reached for it, Noctis lashed out, a shadowy tendril whipping toward Spider-Man's chest. Spider-Man twisted mid-air, narrowly dodging, but the force sent him spiraling toward the vortex. "No!" Hello Kitty dived after him, her moonlight ribbon blazing with silver light. She grabbed his hand just in time, pulling him back. But the memory fragment was still slipping away into the void. Thinking fast, Hello Kitty extended her free hand, channeling her remaining moonlight magic into the fragment. For a brief moment, the memory flickered, and then it projected outward, revealing a vision. A younger Hello Kitty stood in a meadow of glowing flowers, spinning beneath a sky filled with falling stars. Her ribbon shimmered brightly, absorbing the magic of the cosmos. It was the night she had discovered her powers, the night she had first woven the threads of the moonlight ribbon. As the vision faded, Noctis hissed in irritation. "Memories are meant to be forgotten," he snarled, summoning more dark tendrils ready to strike. Spider-Man landed beside Hello Kitty, wiping the dust from his suit. "Yeah, see, that's where you're wrong," he said, cracking his knuckles. "Memories aren't just things that fade. They shape us, and we're not letting you steal them." "Hello." Kitty tightened her grip on her ribbon, her resolve hardening. "We're taking them back." The battle began. Noctis unleashed a storm of shadows, tendrils whipping through the air. Spider-Man dodged effortlessly, flipping and weaving between the attacks. He fired webs at the nearest memory fragments, trying to pull them free from the vortex's grasp. Hello Kitty, meanwhile, used her moonlight ribbon to counter the darkness, sending pulses of silver energy that dissolved the tendrils upon contact. But Noctis was relentless. The sky darkened, his power growing as more memories vanished into the void. With a single, devastating strike, he sent a wave of pure darkness crashing toward them. Hello Kitty raised her ribbon like a shield, but the force sent her tumbling backward. Spider-Man leapt in front of her, bracing himself, but the impact never came. Instead, something glowed beneath them. The remaining memory fragments had begun to resonate, drawn to the moonlight ribbon. Slowly they floated toward Hello Kitty, wrapping around her like threads of glowing silk. She gasped. "They're returning to me." Noctis's form shuddered, his power weakening as the memories slipped from his grasp. "No, this is not how it's supposed to be." But it was too late. Hello Kitty's moonlight ribbon flared, its power fully restored. With a final brilliant surge of silver light, she wove the magic threads together, sealing the vortex once and for all. Noctis let out a final distorted scream before his form dissolved into fading shadows, his presence erased forever. The sky cleared and the wind settled. It was over. Hello Kitty clutched her ribbon, breathing hard. "We did it!" Spider-Man exhaled, grinning. "Told you we would!" The last memory fragment drifted toward Hello Kitty, settling gently against her heart. For the first time, she remembered everything. She looked at Spider-Man, a newfound warmth in her eyes. "I don't think I could have done this without you." Spider-Man chuckled. "Hey, what are friends for?" Under the soft glow of the moon, the two stood side by side, knowing that, no matter how different their worlds were, this moment would never be forgotten. The Sanrio sky had never looked so peaceful. The swirling void of shadows was gone, leaving behind a sky dotted with soft twinkling stars, casting a gentle silver glow over the land. The warm air carried the faint scent of cherry blossoms and moonflowers, a comforting reminder that the world was safe once more. Hello Kitty held her moonlight ribbon tightly, its soft silver glow pulsing with warmth. She turned to Spider-Man, who stood beside her, his red and blue suit shimmering faintly with the leftover magic of the battle. "We really did it," she whispered, almost in disbelief. Spider-Man stretched his arms, rolling his shoulders. I always knew we would," he said, flashing a confident grin. "But, I'll admit, I wasn't expecting memory-stealing shadow monsters." Hello Kitty giggled, hugging her ribbon close. "Neither was I, but now that it's over, everything feels different, brighter." The memories that Noctis had stolen had returned to their rightful places. The Sanrio world felt whole again, like a puzzle where every piece had finally fallen into place. The night had been long, but now it was time to rest. A soft breeze rustled through the air, carrying a quiet chime, a sign that the magical lands were beginning to restore themselves. Hello Kitty sighed, watching the sky. "I don't think I've ever seen the stars shine so brightly." Spider-Man followed her gaze. "Yeah, it's nice." He paused, rubbing the back of his neck. "You know, I don't usually slow down enough to actually look at stuff like this." Hello Kitty smiled, stepping closer. "Well, maybe this was a good reminder that sometimes you have to pause and take in the magic around you." Spider-Man chuckled. "I'll try to remember that." Just then, a glowing trail of silver butterflies fluttered past them, sparkling in the moonlight. Sanrio creatures were beginning to emerge from their homes, peeking out from behind clouds, under flower petals, and in the tiny, hidden corners of the world. They had been afraid for so long, but now the land was safe again. "Look," Hello Kitty whispered. The world was healing. A group of tiny star rabbits hopped across the meadows, their fur shimmering with moonlight as they curiously approached Hello Kitty and Spider-Man. One of the rabbits nuzzled Spider-Man's boot, making him blink in surprise. Hey there, little guy." Hello Kitty knelt beside him, gently stroking the rabbit's fur. "They can feel it too," she said softly. "The peace, the light." For the first time since arriving in Sanrio World, Spider-Man truly felt it too. The tension in his muscles eased and he let out a deep exhale, watching the fireflies flicker like tiny stars around them. Everything was calm. Everything was as it should be. But deep down, both of them knew. It was almost time to say goodbye. Hello Kitty hesitated, looking down at her moonlight ribbon. "You're leaving soon, aren't you?" Spider-Man exhaled, nodding. "Yeah, I should probably get back before my city starts wondering where I disappeared to." He paused. "But you know, this place? It's something special." Hello Kitty held his gaze, a flicker of sadness in her eyes. "I wish you could stay." Spider-Man hesitated for just a second. "Me too." The words hung in the air between them. They had been through so much, faced impossible odds, fought side by side, and discovered something magical together. And now it was time to part. "Hello." Kitty reached out, gently adjusting the silver threads on his gloves. "Here, she said, "so that even when you leave, a part of the magic stays with you." Spider-Man looked down at his gloves. They shimmered faintly, infused with the tiniest traces of Sanrio magic. He flexed his fingers, feeling the gentle pulse of energy. "That's actually really cool," he admitted. "Hello," Kitty giggled. "Think of it as a reminder that even when we're in different worlds, we're still connected." Spider-Man smirked. "You really do know how to make a guy sentimental, huh?" Hello Kitty clasped her hands behind her back. "Only for special friends." A soft chime echoed through the air, the same sound that had brought him here in the first place. The portal was reopening. The time had come. Spider-Man took a deep breath. "Well, guess that's my cue." "Hello," Kitty nodded, trying to hold on to her smile despite the bittersweet feeling in her heart. Without thinking, she reached forward and hugged him. Spider-Man froze, caught off guard, but then, with a quiet chuckle, he hugged her back. "Thanks for everything," he murmured. "Hello?" Kitty pulled back, smiling softly. "Thank you too." The portal began to glow brighter, the swirling magic of the multiverse calling Spider-Man home. With one last nod, he stepped back. Then he leapt into the portal. The light flashed brilliantly, and just like that, he was gone. "Hello." Kitty watched as the portal slowly faded, the last traces of Spider-Man's presence disappearing into the starlit sky. For a moment, she simply stood there, letting the silence settle around her. Then she looked down at her moonlight ribbon, the glow soft and steady. She knew that no matter how far away Spider-Man was, their story would never fade, because magic wasn't just in ribbons or stars or glowing threads. It was in friendships that defied worlds. It was in the memories they had made. And those would last forever. The night was calm now. The stars twinkled gently above, casting a soft silver glow over the world. A warm breeze carried the sweet scent of cherry blossoms, swirling around like a lullaby whispered by the moon itself. Hello Kitty sat quietly by the moonlight garden, her ribbon glowing with a faint, steady pulse. She gazed at the sky, her heart filled with peaceful warmth, knowing that somewhere out there Spider-Man was looking at the same stars. And now, little dreamer, it's time for you to rest too. Take a deep breath in and slowly breathe out. Let your body relax, just like the gentle waves of the sky, slowly drifting, softly floating, just like the glowing fireflies dancing in the night. Breathe in again, filling your lungs with all the warmth and magic of the world around you. And now breathe out, letting go of any worries, any thoughts that don't belong in your dreams tonight. Feel your head sinking into your soft pillow. Feel the warmth of your blanket wrapped around you, just like Hello Kitty's moonlight ribbon. Safe, cozy, comforting. The stars above are whispering kind words, their twinkling lights sending gentle dreams your way. And in those dreams, you can see the magic. Maybe you're swinging through the night like Spider-Man, feeling the wind rush past you as you glide over glowing cities. Or maybe you're standing in a field of moonlit flowers, your fingertips brushing the petals, feeling their soft glow against your skin. Maybe you're holding a ribbon of silver light, watching as it gently twirls in the air, weaving stories of warmth, friendship, and wonder. No matter where your dreams take you tonight, know that you are safe, you are loved, and you are exactly where you are meant to be. Breathe in. Breathe out. Softly now, let your eyelids grow heavier, like the petals of a sleepy flower closing for the night. Let the warmth of peace and magic fill your heart, and as you drift further into sleep, know that tomorrow is another adventure waiting just for you. But for now, it's time to rest, time to dream, time to float among the stars. Just like the magic of the moonlight ribbon. Good night, little dreamer. Sleep well. Twinkle, twinkle, little star.